Hey Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you a layout that I created using some new Nuvo Mica mists and shimmer powders. That is the layout that I created, and the bulk of it is done using these two particular products. They came out they were released at CHA or Creativation 2018, and I absolutely fell in love with them and had to have them, and I wanted to do a bit of a product review layout for you. So I am using the mica mists, and I'm using the purple, and that purple is called Violet Luster, and I'm spraying it over a stencil. So what I did, those black lines there is acrylic paint, and I literally just took a dry brush and painted it across. And I wanted to then use the mica mists with that flower stencil and spray some purple flowers down. And once I had those misted flowers down, I decided to play around with the shimmer powder as well as the mica mists and create some textures that I could then die cut to make flowers and leaves. So this here that I'm using is the Green Parade shimmer powder, and the two particular shimmer powders that I'm using are they are multicolors, so you can see when you put them down, there are different colors that are included in the particular powder. So the first technique that I did was I actually just lightly tapped the bottle over the cardstock and then squirted water, and so you can see the effect there. And then the bottom I used a packaging technique. So what I did was I lightly squirted the shimmer powder on the on packaging, and then squirted water, and then smooshed it onto the paper there. So those are the greens, and you can see the effect. And I wanted a little bit more coverage than what I got, particularly of the one where I did it directly onto the paper. So I just sprayed some of the mica mist on top. So that's mica mist in purple that I sprayed, and so you can see how it sprays. It's kind of blobby to a certain extent, and you can see from the stencil that I used that you actually need to put quite a bit. So this I'm using the purple, and again it is a block shimmer powder, and I put an awful lot of it down by accident, and it's actually tough to pick up. So rather than wasting it, I thought, what the heck, I'll just go ahead and use it. And so that is what that looks like when you use a heavy-handed coating of the shimmer powder. So now what I'm doing here with the shimmer powder is I'm just creating a water wash with it. So it's the block shimmer powder, so it all condenses down to one color. And this is the green as well, also Green Parade. I just added some water, and I'm just using a big watercolor brush, and I am creating a background there that I thought that I would cut some things out of. So those green leaves are cut from both of the greens, and then the purple flowers are cut from the mica powder as well. And I just used that dye there from Elizabeth Crafts for the flowers, the different parts of the flowers, and then that is a Penny Arts, Penny Lane, Penny Black dye for the leafy greens that I use there. So I've sped this up because basically what I'm doing is I'm just creating flower stacks between vellum, white, and then the things that I die cut using the Nuvo Shimmer Powder and mica mists, and some buttons. So I'm putting some buttons down directly onto the stenciled flowers. I'm layering up some flowers, and they end up being the bulk of the embellishment on my layout, really. And I really like them, but as you can see from the paper in the layout, it does warp the paper a fair amount, kind of like watercolor does. I didn't put gesso down. This is straight paper because I didn't want straight white, because I wanted that black, and then I wanted those lines from the wood texture there. So if you are using them directly onto a layout, I would definitely recommend gesso underneath if you don't like the paper buckling. I did not speed up the drying on any of these. They actually dry pretty quickly. You don't need to use a heat gun, but I do know that using a heat gun tends to warp the paper a little bit more, so that is without a heat gun being used. So I have this picture of my husband and my daughter on a recent trip to Tennessee for spring break, and you can see the pictures on the front and the back. The paper that I print on has a right side and a wrong side, and I printed on the wrong side, and rather than wasting another piece of paper, I just flipped it over. So for a little bit of color around the picture, I'm just using that pattern paper from Simple Stories Bliss. It has the purple in it that matches the purples and the greens that I chose to use from my Nuvo products. And then I'm just going to arrange these flowers around that picture of my husband and my daughter. The journaling that I wanted to put on this layout, again, the layout, really the focus was on the product, not on the picture. And actually, the focus of the story is not going to be of where we were or what we were doing, but about my daughter's relationship with her dad. And so that is actually in a hidden journaling spot, because right there you'll see I have a glassine bag that I'm going to put behind the photo so that I can nestle the journaling back there to tell the story. And that little hand you saw poking in there, that's Mia, that's my daughter, and she was just observing what was going on. So that particular piece there was the painted water background from the shimmer powder. And I just am using that as a layer there because I had some left over from the greenery that I put around the flowers. The bag was a little long, so I just folded it under and tucked that under. So that is the bulk of the layout. Now I had this purple where I had cut the flowers out of. I toyed around with the idea of potentially using that as another color layer, but there's a lot of purple already in the layout, and so I decided that I really didn't need that purple, and I was just using it for the sake of using it, but I had to play around with it to decide that there really was no need for that. Here I am trimming it down, thinking that just a teeny tiny bit poking out would be great, but again, it really doesn't need it, so why use it? I'm going to adhere that down, and I'm sorry for the shadows on the left-hand side of the video. That's Mia sitting there, and my window is actually to the left of my workstation, and she was moving in the light. That's what the shadows are, is her movement there. So just arranging those flowers, and now it is time to, I wanted a little bit more embellishment to that. I could have probably stamped out a butterfly using the mists, but I decided instead that I was going to fussy cut one of the butterflies that go with that Simple Stories collection, and I'll speed through that in a minute and use that butterfly just to the left-hand side of the photo to just, I wanted to add a little bit more green, and I wanted just a tad more embellishment to the layout as well. My little helper there taking the paper away for me. And once that's down, that ends up being the bulk of the layout. I will add a few stickers that I found from the Chenille sticker book, and then off camera I did decide that I wanted just a little bit more with those stickers, so I did use some word roller stamps and went ahead and just lightly stamped in that green color some phrases in there too. So I wanted the title to be So Much Love, but what I struggled with was making it work against those really stark white and black contrast there. I didn't want any more black on the layout. I wanted more white, and I wanted it to be subtle and sort of meld into the layout rather than pop on the layout. So I have those thickers there that are white with gold silver lines through them, and then the white letter that says love, and then those are from the Chenille sticker book that are purple, which pulled in the same colors that I was using. But I felt like it was hard to place the letters, so you will see the Suzanna title shuffle. Boy, do I shuffle the letters around on this one. I wanted to be able to read the so, which is hard to do. And so that's why I moved it to the top of the picture there. But then it looked off balance, but it looked better on the black there. but it ruined the balance of the layout. So I'm going to shuffle them around, and ultimately I'm going to stick those purple letter stickers on a heart, which work perfectly with the theme of the layout, and they will go up to the top there, and that will become their home. I liked the placement there. So I will use my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive to stick those down, because we know how those tend to fall when they're standing upright in your page protectors, and that will be the bulk of the layout. I am going to go and put those stickers from that particular Shimmer sticker book in onto the layout as well, and stick that butterfly down. So overall, a thumbs up to the Nuvo product. The shimmer powder is absolutely fantastic and everything I hoped it to be. I like the mica mists, but I will say that I am more of a shimmers gal when it comes to those particular things. They do nice droplets, especially if you water them down. So that is my review of the new Nuvo products. I hope you appreciated seeing them on a scrapbook layout. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them down in the box below. And thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Take care.